What's good, everybody, and welcome back to another session of breakdown of footage. This time we got a case of Siegfried doing one of his OTG attacks. And in this case, we see that it didn't work out all too well. So Siegfried, he has some good options both ways. I think he's a bit of a struggle character. And this is one example that kind of exemplifies part of that struggle. So even though he has some good tools and he's a very hard-hitting character, right? He's got great range, great damage. He's even got one of the fastest normals in the game. He has a 4-frame solder check, which is as fast as Taki's A, and it's also a mid on top of that. Also, you can't GI it because it's a blunt strike, so it's not a weapon. You can't GI kicks and shoulders and elbows and knees, or just like the blunt part of the weapon, so you can't guard impact it, and it's 4 frames. So it's a very, very good tool, plus counter hit launches, but he's still a struggle character, and this is one case where he has a 4 hitting OTG. You can choose how many reps you want to do of it, and in this case, I tried to just use it to finish off the opponent. It turned out to be the wrong call because certain knockdowns puts him off axis to get all 4 strikes, and it's like distance based, and in this instance it got me killed, right? I got immediately punished by it and I ended up losing the round. So we'll go on to the next sample. So another case of the stomp missing, and this time you see I tried to jump over it. I'll go back a bit. The stomp missed, same knockdown, counter hit 3k, and like, oh shit, I gotta get out of dodge. I jumped over, still got hit. That's also like a bit on me. I could have avoided that by running forward instead of just trying to turn around. Again, back turn is a status. You can't just hold guard and expect to guard. You have to recover from it, or you have to make a move. And then Huang got me with one of his lows. Many characters have some pretty great lows, and you know, Taki is one of the unfortunate ones who just doesn't. That's just another example of Siegfried, you know, struggling, trying to get things to work that you would expect to work. But this is all on me. I want to clarify that all of this is on me. We'll get to this later in further clips. So Siegfried has trouble even when he successfully gets all of his knockdowns. Even when he successfully gets all hits off, his back dash is terrible. He has one of the worst back dashes in the game. He's bottom 3. Actually, he's bottom 2, I would say. The bottom 3 are Rock, Siegfried, and Taki, believe it or not. Those are the bottom 3 for worst back dashes in the game. And I'm not saying like the distance they cover. I'm talking about the speed at which they start off and the distance that they cover. So the problem with Siegfried is even when you do score your damage and when you take your rightful turn, you're putting yourself in a horrible position. Even though he has great damage, if you want to get to his great damage, a lot of the times you're sacrificing your position and putting yourself in an immediate mix when the opponent is waking up. You can't really react to what they're going to do, low or mid, and both options are safe, and more often than not they'll leave you in a knockdown and they'll score extra damage by their OTG. That's the risk of Siegfried, is when you want to, you know, capitalize on all of his damage, you end up in bad spots. More on Siegfried's back dash being stubby. We'll wind that right there. See, I tried to back dash away and I still have to guess and have to guard low. All of these interactions are situations where I wouldn't have to guard low or have to make that guess with other characters. I had the last minute crouch. A great character doesn't have to deal with that. They don't have to make that last second guess being in their face, or make a drastic decision. They can just be out of there and they will still be able to apply pressure. Continually going to be their turn, because if Siegfried has a poor backdash, he has to not only make a guess to defend, but he loses his turn on top of that. Now here's where Siegfried gets a bit cheap. Siegfried has an unblockable, but it's only against a select few characters. Rock is one of them. His 3k, when you continue it, go into his string, that is a unblockable. If you block the low, the last hit is an unblockable. Alright, so it starts mid and it goes low, then mid. If you block the low, the mid becomes unblockable. You can jump the low, however. That is the big risk for both parties, because Siegfried doesn't have to commit to the low, obviously, and if he does commit to the low, then the defender can just jump it and get a free punish. If the defender jumps and Siegfried doesn't commit, then he gets a free punish on that as well. The thing about Soul Blade is you can jump at the last second and you kind of can see it coming. But if you do jump the gun, then that's your ass basically. Because he can sidestep, and then he can get your back, and you get a launch on your back, and then you're dealing with unskilled damage, and then so it could be all bad. But anyways, he doesn't have to commit to it, but he does have an unblockable on the Rock, Li Long, and guess who? Taki. Those are the 3 characters he has this unblockable on, unless they are aware of it and how to get out of it. They are going to be eating free damage every single time. You cannot block it. Next round, I'm gonna just let this play with the volume up.
You win. Battle 2. Fight. The grueling battle ended with the victory of Siegfried. You win.
I will not rest.
Battle 3.
All right. The most noticeable thing about this one, to me, is that last trade. Because I was just spamming 3K the whole time. I was like, hey, make a move. You got to make a move. The fact that traded is so crazy. 3K is one of Siegfried's best moves, right? Because again, it counter hit launches, counter hit knocks down. And on top of that, it's just one of his best tools to just throw out. It's safe. So that's kind of the button that you'll always be trying to toss out. And also it's you can't guard impacted. It's his furthest reaching normal. That is a blunt strike. It's not his quickest, but it's his longest reaching as well as his quickest, and it's also safe. The fact that it punished him from, we have to watch this in slow motion. The fact that it reached, and each time I throw it out, could be an unblockable if I committed to it. The fact that this reached, it's a great tool. It's a great tool. That's all I have to say. Again, must stress that Siegfried is a struggle character. This interaction right here doesn't seem like much is happening, but what happens here is Siegfried is one of the strongest characters in the game. But with every pro that Siegfried has, it comes alongside another con. So his launcher, his 3B, is proximity based. The properties that it distributes or does. If I'm too far, it does not launch at the normal height, which means you can't get his optimum damage, which means you have to think on the fly. You have to make that decision on the fly. How close are you? Change up your combo based on the varying factors, right? And it gets a bit muddy at certain distances because it doesn't seem like you're that far away. You have to be so close for his launcher to launch at the appropriate height, but you also have a little bit of leeway. So it's just a bit muddy. You have to make that call on the fly, and it could lead to drop combos like this. Now, I actually made the right call because I tried to adjust and do his shoulder shake, which is 6B plus K, and instead I just got 6K. So I tried to make the right call on the fly, but instead, it ended up being a drop. But anyways, that's another Siegfried interaction for you. And the round continues. See Li Long having some great interactions here. a lot of mids, and whoa, right there. I don't know if you caught that. Right there, we have to go back. Li Long stocks are going up 30 years later. What the fuck is happening with this? Okay, so first we have to acknowledge all of these mids of Li Long. I hit Li Long with the unblockable. He could have killed me, but computers. And that right there. So that right there, this interaction right here. I buy visual, by the numbers, I hit Li Long out of his attack. That should have been the game interaction right there. So what happened? I hit Li Long with my crumple, which would have gave me one of my highest damaging starters on counter hit. But instead, even though he's mid-action, Li Long has the audacity to have this being a two-part attack, even though it's not a two-part attack. It's a one-button move. It all comes out at once. But for whatever reason, the game separates this and says, okay, well, he's not doing an action right here. So I guess he just doesn't get counter hit at all, even though he's doing a command. So even though I hit him out of an attack, and he would have hit me without pressing any further buttons, if I was a second late, the game said, nah, Li Long, he's good. He's not in a counter hit right here. That's the privilege of being a top tier right there. I'll play with volume. And then he killed me with the same attack. One more time. Moving on. This one's called Siegfried Round of Hesitation versus Risk. I just named these random bullshit, so don't take them too literally.
Battle 2, fight. The grueling battle ended with the victory of Siegfried. You win. Battle.
Nice. Respect. So this is just like a quality round. Nothing too crazy happened here. Hit him with the unblockable and hop kick. Oh, right there, hop kick. Siegfried has one of the worst hop kicks in the game. It's not the absolute worst. It's one of the absolute worst. Actually, isn't the absolute? It is one of the worst. It's actually the worst. He actually has the worst hop kick in the game alongside Valdo. So whenever he does a hop kick, and if you block his hop kick, you can punish him with a critical edge, aka your super, which takes up about 50 to 60% life. So whenever he does a hop kick, even if he hits you, you get a free launcher, full combo. If you block it, you get a free super, and whatever else you have in mind. So Siegfried, again, Siegfried knowledge right there. So I did a hop kick because it's a defensive tool. Get off me, you know, let me avoid lows, avoid throws, and still hit you with something relatively quick. Siegfried has a drawback with that. So again, hit him unblockable, and I hesitated on the combo. I could have killed right there. I hesitated. And I also only did 3 stomps, which was probably a great call right here. If I did 4, the 4th one most likely would have missed. So, you know, I'm overthinking, like, okay, you know, I'm playing Siegfried right now. I gotta half do everything, half commit to everything. And I ended up dropping the kill, but, you know, things worked out. And I didn't backdash. And I feel like even if I did backdash, I wouldn't get far enough away. So I just try to you know, make a guess and stay on the offensive. Hopefully get a kill right there, but he called me out. And I think go for a ground grab. Siegfried has a ground grab or a leg grab. That's one of Siegfried's like hidden tools that's pretty good. If you do his leg grab, it only comes out if you're standing. So if you're crouching, he'll just do like a crouching A. So like that's pretty good, I guess. It's cool. You know, an extra low to throw into his arsenal. Again, you can just break it like any other throw. All throws are breaking with, you break all throws with A plus G. No matter if it's a command grab, B grab, they all break with the same thing, which adds an extra layer of having a good A grab means there's a lot more value put into that because you're breaking grabs and also doing your best grab at the same time. Whereas you have a great B grab, you're going for it, you might get thrown yourself and you won't be able to break it unless you know, back up behind the B grab and try to just break it after you throw it out. You could break throws even if you commit to something. So even if I'm mid action, you can always like buffer behind it and still get a throw break. The more you know. Okay, next clip is called Siegfried round, catching loss but potential. What does that mean?
Roll it. Fall. Fight. Siegfried stood against an impossible enemy. You lose.
And that was pretty solid. That was a cool round. So Siegfried's 4-4B, that right there is one of the strongest attacks in the entire game. Great guard damage. You can't guard impact it. And also, I could have killed. Whenever you land this, you're basically guaranteed like at least 50%, because the key is not to do the second attack. You can do the first 4-4B and you can link into a launcher, right? The timing is very strict, and it's also again proximity based because of his launcher is proximity based, so you might have to change your combo on the fly and what you're going to be doing after that. But you see the damage of this one move, it's so much. So right here I could link and I could just throw any button out and kill him, but I got caught up. And I just went for a grab. He ducked. I'm like, fuck. What else? Did he catch me that? No, he didn't. I tried to just get a sneak headbutt, a sneak shoulder bash. That's his 4-frame attack. Not only is it the fastest mid in the game, it's just the fastest attack in the game, period. But Taki's A is a high, and this is a mid. But you get no follow-up after this, so that's the trade-off. And it's also extremely stubby, as you can see. What the fuck? How did that shit not connect? Siegfried problems. Siegfried problems. Look at how stubby it is. I was a little too far, you know, but whatever. Like, that shit was mad stubby, though. I went for the leg grab. I'm trying to BS my way out of this shit. He's oddly a stubby character and a long range character at the same time. Okay, next clip. This next clip is called Siegfried Combo Routes Gotten. Volume
1. Fight.
Ooh, that was a good round. That was a good ass round, if I say so myself. That was a solid ass round. Okay, let's try to loop this shit. Okay, sidestep. He crouched, but he didn't punish me. Okay. I threw out the second kick. That was a dumb decision. There's no reason to do that against anybody except for Taki, Lee Long, and Rock. There's no reason to ever do this against any other character because they can just jump it and then you're fucked and you don't get any benefit from this. There's no reason to ever do that. You could probably catch somebody off guard, but like if you ever block that, then you should probably just like neutral jump or just do anything. But yeah, I threw it out because I was like, oh shit, this is not Taki. It's not somebody who sucks. It's not somebody who sucks except Lilo, right? He did a big ass low right here, but I don't think Siegfried can really punish that hard, so I didn't really punish. I just try to get up and go for a standing A because Siegfried, one thing about Siegfried, even though he kind of is, if I don't want to say it right now, but he's just a struggle character. He has one of the cheapest, easiest win conditions of pretty much any character. It's so easy and it's very effective too. So I try to just go up and just like, I don't need the damage. Just let me just get a turn in, right? Let me try to get some of your guard. But he sidestepped me. So I neutral jump because I'm like, oh, I'm fucked. Siegfried's kind of slow. Can't really get out of situations that easy. So I'm just like, okay, this is kind of a 2D game, not really. Soul Edge is kind of like a hybrid. A lot of 2D rules, but it's got a lot of Tekken 2isms, which in itself is pretty 2D. So I'm just like, okay, he's got my back. I'm just gonna jump as fucking high as I can. I'm a neutral jump though, and he moved, so now he's kind of in a bad spot, but we just ended up just meeting each other. He still had my back. Mitsurugi, very strong character. Never do that. Never commit to Mitsurugi strings or Huang's or Han's guest fighter on block. Having a 3 hitting string is a privilege that not many characters have because you can avoid them and they can all be punished. So I was able to guard impact, and because of that, free launcher. There's no GI battles in Soul Edge. You get a guard impact, it's as good as a perfect parry without scaling. Right? I only did 1 stop. That time I got a crumple and I got the low proximity juggle. And so I adjusted on the fly. I only got 1 stop, 1 stomp, and I was able to back up in time. The more stomps you do, the less, the worse your position is. And that time I caught him in a button. So even though I was that close, look at that. Even though I was this close, look at how close I am. This is considered too far for his launcher to pick up normally. So the game considered me being too far for his launcher. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it's very deceptive because it looks like I'm like neck and neck to this motherfucker, right? Like, goddamn. Goddamn. But it said, nah, you too far away. So I had to adjust on the fly and do his 6 B plus K. Fastest move in the game. And picked up on the launcher. I saw that the alignment was right, so I committed to all 4 stomps. I think, or was it 3 stomps? That's all 4. And I got punished immediately for it. So I didn't have enough time. I could have jumped back, but I was like, fuck it. And yeah, that was a solid round for Siegfried. So next clip we got is called Siegfried Hop Kick. Punished. This is going to be a bad one. Ooh. My bad.
You win.
My bad. Hold on. Pretend like that didn't happen. Optimum damage.
again against an impossible enemy. You lose.
That was a pretty competitive round. You know, I could have died multiple times. I lived. That's just kind of how it be. And I got ended up put in a very tight position. You know, anything he does is going to kill me at this point. This son of a bitch sidestepped me. And because it was a whiff punish, because he punished my recovery, he got extra damage, which the damage isn't, you know, doesn't seem like it's that big a deal. 5% is not that big of a deal. It might have been 10% because I threw out a big move. I actually got to look it up. It depends on the move I threw out. But, you know, it put me right at death's door. And so I did it hop kick. I'm like, okay, fuck off. Like this is kind of just what you do. Like, this is how you get people off you. I could have just jumped back. But sometimes instinct just like takes over. And unfortunately for Siegfried, he is unable to throw a hop kick, defensive hop kicks at all. Whenever you do a hop kick, you might as well just be telling them to kill you. So that's what happened. Another con for Siegfried, hop kicks meant to save lives, kills him. Moving on, stomps miss again. And I won't read the rest. We'll just click it. Oh my god.
Stood again against an impossible enemy. You lose.
Son of a bitch, right? So first things first, look at the damage right here. For all of Siegfried's troubles, when he actually does hit you, and this is I believe Mitsurugi being caught in a big counter hit state. So again, go over it. Soledge has multiple damage tiers, but the main part of it is you have a standardized damage of counter hit, and then you have a big version of the counter hits, and it all depends on the move that you're throwing out. If Mitsurugi just did his standard AA, he would not have took the damage that he took right here, but he took the damage right here because he did a command move, which was assigned to have a bigger risk. I call it a big punished tier move, and it means instead of taking a standard 25% counter hit damage, he takes a 50% bonus counter hit damage. A lot more damage for hitting him out of his move because of that, and it took 50% total. So that is the difference of the damage tiers. And because if I just do this move normally, it'll probably take like 30%, maybe like 35%. If you get counter hit, it'll probably take like 40% maybe, but this shit took 50%. You know, so that's just part of the damage system. Every single move has an assigned tier of how much they'll get punished for, and it's either standard or big. All right. So he hit me with his hop kick. His hop kick is safe. He has one of the safest hop kicks. One of the safest hop kicks in the game. And I got the knockdown, but the last hit. And I'm like, God damn it, give me this fucking last stomp. And every time. But again, this is on me. And because it whiffed, even if I committed to it and it hit, I would have been in a bad spot. But I was banking on it killing. The fact that it whiffed means I was pretty much guessing for my life, which I guessed wrong. Moving on. Mitsurugi's very strong. Very, very strong. Is he the best character though? I don't think he's the best character. All the characters are pretty strong in this game. That's a common theme. I'm supposed to finish this clip, so we'll just keep watching.
Stood again against an impossible enemy. You lose. Battle 4. Fight.
Uh-oh. Final round.
Of Siegfried. You win.
Also, I guessed correctly on a missed-stomp that time.
Final battle. Fight.
Oh, the whiffs. Headbutt.
The grueling battle ended with the victory of Siegfried. You win.
I never had such an easy victory.
Alright. So it got pretty hectic towards the end. With grabs back and forth, headbutt. The only downside to it is that it doesn't have that much range at all. It's extreme. It's probably the most stubby move in the entire game. Got the back dash on deck. Did I do all 4 stomps? You didn't punish me that hard for it. Okay, I did all 4 stomps. And I back dashed just enough. And then he tried, I don't know what he tried to do. But because he woke up with the button, I decided I was going to use that to commit. And I'm like, okay, he could technically hit me out of this. You could technically hit somebody out of this. If you miss, you die. If you hit me, I'm still going to live. You only get a bit of damage on me because I'm in the air. There's air protection a little bit, air counter. First hit is 20% plus. The second hit is minus 39%. So you can only get like so much damage out of me out of this. And when I land, it's completely safe. And you can't guard impact this either. So I don't know what he was trying to do. But the clutchest thing here was the back dash being perfectly spaced. You can back dash cancel pretty much whenever. There's no restrictions. There's no restrictions on movement in this game, which is why I love it so much. Some people say the movement is kind of stiff, but there's no restrictions on it at all. There's no restrictions on moving forward and back. Sidestepping is more like a misstep kind of thing. It's not like an actual sidestep. You commit to a bit of a stance where you have a select few attacks. You get a big punish if you do it correctly, but it's a big commitment on top of that. So he actually tried to do a reversal. he tried to do his reversal, which does catch mids. It does catch B attacks. And this would have worked if I did, any other B attack. If I did just like regular B, he would have caught it. But not that move. Just look at him try to catch it at the last second. That's the catch stance. And that big hit spark is a counter hit. When you see the hit spark have like a circle around it and it gets like really bright, that's the sign of a counter hit. When you don't see that big circle around it, it's just a standard hit. When you guard impact does not get counter hit. You just take regular damage. There's no counter hit for whiffing a GI. Right? Even if you think you punished it, there's no counter hit state for guard impacts. It's just they're not guarding. That's it. If you try to do a reversal, they can be counter hit. And so that's why you see this big circle around the hit spark. It's gone on for a long time, I gotta admit. I thought I'd be done by now. Okay, so this one's called counter hit correct conversion. Okay, this is Roger. It's a short clip.
The grueling battle ended with the victory. You win.
I kept saying it was on me, right? And it was on me because this is the correct conversion to do after landing the counter hit 3K. It's more damage, and also the benefit of doing these, or let's talk about the risk first. Doing jumping OTGs, they only come out when the opponent is grounded, right? So your attacks kind of change when the opponent is grounded versus when they're standing. Only for the OTG based attacks. That's the jumping attacks and your on the ground version of the OTGs. Because normally 3K for Siegfried is, that kick I keep throwing out, the mid has a lot of reach, and I abuse rock with it. That's 3K for Siegfried, and the unblockable for Taki, Li Long, rock, same move. But when they're on the ground, 3K turns into his stomps. Same thing is with airborne jumping attacks. When they're grounded, their jumping attacks change to kind of, home in on the grounded opponent. Even if you just neutral jump and press like B or A, they'll home in on them for a short distance. And if you hold up longer, then they'll do a big jump. You almost never get the big jump on anybody, so it's not really useful. But the short hop version is how you get some extra damage. But the problem with that is that it's hard to connect with it because they can mash and get off the ground quickly. If they know how to mash, they can roll out of it, and basically you'll be punished for attempting to get that tacked on damage. There are cases where you can get it, however, it just depends on your combo routing and, little nuances that, takes a lot more knowledge to get to. So that's why I kept going for the stomps, because it's just more reliable. You get the grounded version of OTG pretty much off of most knockdowns, unless you're Taki. You get them pretty much on any knockdown. So that's why I just kept defaulting to it. But the actual correct thing to do for Siegfried right here would be to go for his jumping version. More damage. If it's a little bit ambiguous, like they might be able to get out of it, it's actually a good thing, because then you'll get counter hit damage from it on top of that. So sometimes you might see me like delay going for stomps or delay doing something. It's because I'm trying to wait for them to move. And once they do move, I get an attacked on 25% damage, So that's kind of why you might see me delay it sometimes. It will either kill some people or it'll get you killed. And right there, I just wanted to add this bit of information right here. Somebody asked me a long time ago how clashing works in this game. And it seems like a lot of people are kind of stumped on it. So pretty much all the weapons can clash with each other in this game. No matter what type of attack. Like there's like some specific cases, like when the attack is like a blunt strike, even though they're using their weapon. As long as the weapons collide, or the hitboxes collide, and I'm sure they're like somebody has like the actual frame data and the visual hitboxes, and they could like give a more accurate answer to this, but I'm just going off of how it feels. It's my experience playing the game. So just based off of my experience, all that matters is that the hitboxes collide. And sometimes when you're up close, when you're too close, you'll just trade hits instead, or like they might score a hit instead. And since it's technically a 3D game, the hitboxes aren't always like there's a bit of funk involved in here. You have to account for that. When you put space between you and your opponent and your weapons collide, they will always collide. Now, sometimes some specific attacks have they go into the actual weapon class mini game, we'll call it, before reversal edge. Depending on the attack thrown out, it will trigger that. I don't know the specific, but I do know what leads to it the most, and it's just like standard moves or neutral moves. Whenever you're trying to get that and you're trying to achieve that, you just throw out like an A or a B. They're not exclusively excluded to neutral buttons, but if you really were chasing them, that's how you get them. So right here, I did throw out an A because I don't like what she's doing. I don't want to give her any chance to do anything. I'm just trying to like hit her because I thought like my buttons are further. But the added bonus is that, it just nullifies both attacks, if I'm wrong. So both attacks got nullified. I got the fastest attack, so it's my turn. But, I'm a pacing dude. And yeah, so anyways, Now it's just a bit of information about classing. It's based on your distance, because they have weapons. Doesn't matter if you press the same attack at the same exact time. If you're too close, you're not going to get a class. The weapons have to collide. Their hitboxes have to collide. And we're getting to the end here. This clip is called Jump-ins.
Fight.
So let me just give it like a bit of a bit more background to this. So Siegfried has the strongest jump-ins in the game, and I haven't been using them at all. He has some of the best. All jump-in attacks cannot be guard impacted, even if they're weapon-based. Another Taki weakness is that Taki has no weapon-based jump-ins, so he can't deal guard damage like that. But we'll go back, stick to Siegfried. He has weapon-based jump-ins, and they do deal guard damage, and they can't be guard impacted, and they're also safe. He also has a natural mix-up with them. He can do a mid, and he can also delay it and do a low. And, you know, I just like, okay, well, let me just start trying to implement this. So that's what happens when Siegfried hits you with the low. Let me just pop off right here on that Taki. What the fuck is Taki doing? Look at low tier Siegfried doing 30% off of a low. God damn. Let's keep it moving. I tried to guard impact the kick. I got blasted. Pretty sure I lost this run. I was like, fuck it, let me just toss this out. Alright, and that's what happens when you try to guard a back turn. Back turn is a status. You have to make a big decision. You can't just guard. Why does Siegfried's armor look like a buck-toothed piece of shit? What? Am I the only one seeing this right here? So yeah, back turn is a big disadvantage, and it's not that hard to get back turn. This is the last clip. We're at the last clip. Okay, praise the Lord. This one is called, the last clip is called Siegfried. Great match. Finish the whole thing. You son of a bitch. Okay, we don't have to read all that shit. Let's play it.
Win. Battle 3. Fight. Knockout. The grueling battle. You win. Battle 4. Fight. The grueling battle ended with the victory of Siegfried. You win.
I never had such an easy victory.
Right, so first, right off the gate, I try to bomb rush her with the shoulder check. Again, move is stubby. Move is so stubby, it kind of makes you feel like it doesn't hit mid, but it's just not reaching, right? We're going ultra slow motion. She tried to guard impact, I threw out a kick. And I'm only committing to the first one because no point against any other character outside of Taki, Rock, and Lilo. So I throw it out again. Its move is so good, throw it out twice. It looks twice as nice the second time. Because I'll be honest, I don't really know what else to throw out with Siegfried. I actually do, like, and like the correct conversion on top of that. And, oh yeah, to finish on my point earlier, I didn't actually conclude this. The reason why the jump in OTGs, you might want to do those, not only does it give you more damage, but it also gives you better positioning, you know, because they always hop back after doing it. So it's just like simple back dash, you can cancel it pretty much at any time and you'll be out of range of their wake up attacks. when you're up close on the ground, when you're on the foot, you have to backdash cancel usually twice, or you do commit to like full backdash or case by case scenario. And sometimes you're so caught up in trying to get away, you actually lose pressure. But when you're able to get the jump in, they kind of naturally just do the work for you, give you positioning. It's just, you know, you might be sacrificing something to get to it, but that is the choice to make. You're risking being punished and trying to be safer. You also have to change your routing to get to it. So, you know, that's what goes into that choice. She does a low. Right, so I went for the jump in version. Backdash once and I was out of range. He did a wake up sweep and I punished it. So you see extra damage. It's not a counter hit, it's just a punish. And I believe wake up attacks are considered a big punish move. So they take the bigger version of damage. So punish will be 10% instead of 5. Counter hit will be 50% instead of 25. So sidestep Siegfried. Lucky son of a bitch got your grab on me. Goddamn. Sung Mina's so strong. And I don't know what the fuck the computer doing. They on some shit. Pressing every goddamn button. Fucking my kick is so twice, do it twice. So Sung Mina has some pretty nasty mix-ups that also leave her very punishable. I did not punish it, but, you know, fuck it, the grab looks cool. Okay. Siegfried's range is so crazy, but Sung Mina's range is also crazy. So I was just like, let me just neutral jump. You know, that's just gonna hit, but she did some other bullshit. Crouch. And I try to cleave her head off. I tried to cleave her head off, but I went for the, you know, I should have did the mid. But that's the thing about this matchup. Normally for Sung Mina, like I usually just do a hop kick right there and just avoid anything he has to do right there. Like I try to delay it, and so I guard the mid, and then if the mid doesn't come out, I just hop kick it, or you know, do something like that. But with Siegfried, I can't hop kick, so I could have just did a jump in instead, but you know, I'm not really thinking about that. I could have done that though, and would have avoided this. And I tried to get up, and I got counter hit for it. Big counter hit damage. Guard impacted too soon. Not too bad though. Simple low. Counter hit. Counter hit. This button is Siegfried's lifeline. And because it got better Oki, I threw out the big guns. It's hard to pin somebody down in this game because you have the choice to roll sideways. Holy shit. You have the ability to roll sideways and back. So how the wake up works in this game, you can either wake up neutral, roll forward, or roll back as far as your first action, or you could do a side roll as your first action, right? So those are what? Neutral 1, forward 2, back 3, right 4, left 5. So you have 5 choices on wake up, but it doesn't end there. If you side roll first, you have a second action that you get. So you can either roll forward or roll back or just get up neutral, right? So you have 3 additional choices on top of that. So 8 total choices on wake up. You can't really pin somebody down. You just have to try to read them and think about their positioning on the stage. And so right here, I was like, okay, so you rolled. Once they roll, they're basically on a plane where they can only go forward and back. So I'm like, I'm just going to do this regardless, you know? So I was like, okay, whatever happens, I hope I kill you. Basically, whatever happens here, I hope you die, you motherfucking son of a... And it worked out. So the moment they side roll, I was like, I'm committed to this shit. And because she pressed a button, counter hit, just a regular counter hit. Regular counter hit. This move is one of the strongest moves in the game. One of. And I was too far to pick up to, you know, do a link combo. I was too far. So I just committed to the second part. which I don't know, that did a crap ton. And then I get this on top of that. I actually didn't do the correct finisher. The correct OTG for this would have been his 6/6 A plus B, and that would have been maximum damage out of that. But because I did the jump in, my spacing was immaculate, and I fucked up my second 4/4B. I fucked it up. She hit me with the no mix. We're just trading back and forth, trying to cut each other's heads off. Siegfried, I think Siegfried is a very heavy feint type of character. A lot of his moves have like a big delays in them, and you know, it's made to kind of make you flinch. And so I just try to implement this unblockable into it. You know, the real feint for him is mixing in his critical edge though. His critical edge, because that's a real threat. Because it does this big chunk of guard damage on top of that. All critical edges do. But also, you know, big damage on top of it, and you can throw it out and it can catch somebody. It can actually catch somebody. Unblockables probably won't catch somebody. Siegfried's is on the faster side, but you know, so I just try to mix those two in, but it's, you know, I don't bind my buttons, so it's hard to do the critical edge. Caught me with my shoulder dash. Put me at the edge of the ring. I rolled back. Just a good guess right there. But put me in a better position because of that. I could have killed her. I could have killed if I just did a regular B. So again, she took the risk I was just talking about earlier. About knowing when you can press her buttons. She did it way too late though. But she still could have caught me if I reacted the wrong way. Right. So, trade me with a low. Feint. She fell for it. She fell for the bait. So, let's rewatch that one more time. We'll end it on this match. We'll end it on this match, and I'll call it here. I'll catch you on the flip side. I meant for this shit to be like 10 minutes. It's like an hour. I'm about to cut it down to like 30 minutes, hopefully. But I'll catch y'all when I catch y'all, and hope you have a wonderful rest of your days. Happy holidays again. Hope you had a wonderful Christmas. And I bid y'all further ado. May peace be with those. Keep your heads up. Deuces, both adios. Stay cool. If you like this content, be sure to show some love, but always be sure to show that love to the people who matter to you. It's ITOwl bidding you farewell. Peace, much love, and stay cool. Deuces. Happy New Year's.
The grueling battle ended with the victory of Siegfried. You win.
I never had such an easy victory.
Out of the ring. The grueling battle ended with the victory of Tusk. You win.
I love Rose. Rose is my favorite character ever. Lynette has... She has joined the ranks, probably. But Rose is... Rose is my wife. Oh my god, did that work? Oh! Yo. Perfect. Because I ran away, I put him in active time. It's when they have to chase you. Movement matters, position spacing matters. So he had to chase me down, and I said, I'm just gonna use magic.